Hey, this is Vic. Welcome to Vic's Basement Brewcast, brought to you by South Jersey Beer Scene. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and follow our YouTube page at South Jersey Beer Scene. Also brought to you by our newest sponsor, East Coast Beverage Systems. I am delighted to be here tonight at Backward Flag, one of my favorite places, with one of my favorite people. So this here is Tori Fisher. Why don't you introduce yourself, Tori?
Well, I'm Tori Fisher, as you said.
Yes.
I am the founder and owner of Backward Flag Brewing Company.
Okay. And we also have another special guest with us. Jeff, introduce yourself.
Hi, how you doing? I'm Jeffry Kowaleski. I am the assistant brewer here and also one of the beer tenders here at Backward Flag.
Jeff, brand new, just a month or two with Backward Flag, and he is already brewing under the expert tutelage of Tori. So tell us about what's going on with Backward Flag, how things been going here.
Things have been good.
Yeah.
I can't really complain. Beer's flowing. I got Jeff that I've been training, so that's been fun. Teaching somebody new is always a good time. September 18th, we're coming up on 6 years, so I'm excited about that. Doing a lot of planning.
6 years. Now let me ask, over 6 years, what is different than you thought it was going to be here? Have you progressed on the business side and on the development side the way you thought you were going to, or is it you're pretty much where you expected to be?
Everything, I think, has changed. We started out very small and trying to do the thing that everybody else is trying to do and get big. We went into that growth, and then as time's gone on, COVID kind of helped with just slowing things down. But during that time, the focus has just changed. We're not really trying to be a big production brewery, pumping out beer to draft accounts and all over the shelves. Now the focus definitely changed more inward to where I'm more focused on what we do with the veteran and first responder community, the peer-to-peer work that we do. That's become the more focal point than growth. Pretty happy just making good quality beer, and I'm continuing to strengthen the bonds that I have within the community. That is Backward Flag.
And I know that's really a big part of the identity of Backward Flag. I think I remember the first time I talked to you several years ago. Actually, you still had your old brewing system then.
Yeah.
But we had talked, and back then you were talking about forming a nonprofit, Arms to Artisan.
Yep.
And like I said, the first time I actually talked to you, and we actually posted it in South Jersey Beer Scene, one of the first articles I ever did actually, you talked about your dream or your plans of Arms to Artisans. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, obviously since then, Arms to Artisans became a reality. So that's something else that I run within the brewery and outside of the brewery. With Armed Artisans, I still intern veterans here in whatever capacity that they would like to work, whether it's learning how to be a beer tender or in the production side. We've had a lot of interns, flow in and out, which has been really cool. Our last one was Joey Rios. He's still here in a part-time capacity. He ended up having to go abruptly to DC. He got deployed there when all that was going on.
Sure.
But he just had a baby, so he's spending some time at home. And then additionally, we have Mobile Cigar Lounge, veteran-owned cigar rolling company. Then we have Black Six Coffee that we're working with. And then we just created a new partnership with Modern Material, which is, I think, only one of two gun manufacturers here in New Jersey. I see that as being an artisanal trade. So we're working with them right now to find them a veteran that would like to learn how to actually handcraft weapons.
Now, how many veterans have actually come through the Arms to Artisans program since it was established?
I don't have an exact count off the top of my head. I would probably say through this building, probably about 10.
Okay. So. Now, Joey is an interesting story. Is Joey FNG?
Joey is FNG.
Okay, why don't you tell a little bit a little bit about the story of the beer FNG and
All right.
what happened with Joey.
Do you want the
I don't want the clean version. I
you want the real version?
I want the
All
real
right.
version.
So the real version is, so Joey was, I think, his second solo brew. It was a recipe that was fairly straightforward. FNG, was supposed to be a beer called Lemon Lot, which is a beer that I had done a small batch of during COVID before we were able to open our doors again. And all it really is, it was safety brief, but then with the addition of lactose and lemon peel to give it a lemon pound cake type flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided we would scale that up, and I had Joey brewing that. I was at a business meeting with another Joey, actually Joey from Mobile Cigar Lounge. That meeting was a very good meeting. It ended with some oysters and probably more old fashions that I can count. And so at one point, Joey here called me, and he was having some issues. And one was that he had forgotten the lemon peel and all the things in the beer and wanted to know what to do. And well, I was feeling pretty good, but also pretty faithful. And I was just like, you got this. And he didn't really have it.
Okay.
So the beer got transferred. And the beer came out fine. It was just, it lacked the lemon character and everything that it was supposed to have. And it wasn't going to really be able to be corrected the way I wanted it to be at that point in the fermenter.
Mm-hmm.
So I told Joey, what we do with beers like that is when you don't really know what else to do, you dry hop the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we did. It came out beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time I was working with our staff on creating recipes that reflected their personality or something about them. And Joey may have not written that recipe, but he came to me later and he said, I think this is my beer. And he's like, I'm going to tell you why. I fucked up a lot of things in my life, but in the end, they always turn into something beautiful. And I think that this beer reflects that for me.
Right.
I said, all right, this is your beer. And so FNG was born.
FNG, and what does that mean?
Fucking new guy.
Fucking new guy. So, as we're speaking of fucking new guy, let's talk to the fucking new guy here now. Okay, which is Jeff. Jeff, tell us about your experience so far, because I know that pretty soon after you started, you brewed your first beer. So tell us a little bit about your brewing experience. Also, I know you have other experience in the hop-like world. So tell us about that too.
Right. So I first started, I guess, my whole career with hops and its cousin was when I was growing medical marijuana. So I was growing medical marijuana for a dispensary up in Woodbridge, New Jersey. I was their lead cultivation technician. And without me knowing, there's a lot of similarities between cannabis and hops, and in the beer world and cannabis.
It's the same
itself.
family, am I
Right?
correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the way people go about their days, either at a brewery bar or a bar or
A fourth wall thing? Richard, you're so sorry you're missing this one. Okay, sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
it's all good. So, when it comes down to the plant-wise, it's the aromatic effects, the smells, the terpenes itself, actually on a molecular level, are the same exact thing. They can't even be made up. They are the same exact thing. So when you have, linalool and mycerin and pinene B, pinene A, like all those, limonene, like all those things actually are the same that you would find in a cannabis plant. So coming here and tasting Tori's beer and tasting I'm able to break it down. Like, whoa, it's an explosion, like a memory explosion, and each beer unlocks a different chamber of where you go to. And when I use cannabis and smoke cannabis or vape cannabis, it's pretty much on the same level, flavor-wise, feeling-wise, and just understanding that this comes from something so little but so powerful. And then even on your day-to-day, say, because I was a beer tender here, but I started off as a bud tender, which is just an extravagant word for someone who sells you
Really?
weed. Yeah. So I started off there, and here, you go through counseling people there, and here it's talking to people. So you get to see all walks of life, people who, or lonely and just want someone to talk to and like kind of keep from being at that edge, you know? So in my nature was to like always help and try to do something more than what I think it was. And here, brewing and being a beer tender is more than just brewing and being a beer tender. I'm here to actually help and talk to people and see what's going on in my community, you know? So, I mean, the similarities are through and through all over the place, you know? But my first time working here, or my first time brewing here, I fell in love with it. Here at 4:30 in the morning, you know, before the sun gets up, and
Is Tori here then?
yeah, so she was there that day. I would not shut the fuck up, honestly. So like you know, in the morning, Tori does this thing where she likes to meditate a little bit with the place, listen to the machines. I come in, I'm just, and she's like, hey Jeff, listen, can you shut up real quick?
I never experienced that before. Normally
Someone
when
actually coming in and talking.
Well, yeah, when I brew with guys, especially like the first, brew, and I tell them, hey, you're going to have your feet here in this building at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., or whatever. One, they're almost always late. I'm always here first. I'm feeling happy and chipper because, that's just, I'm a morning person.
Right, yeah.
And normally they're late and I'm here and they're walking through the door and they're dragging ass and whatever. Yeah. No, I show up, this guy, he's here before me waiting at the door. And then we walk in and I'm normally, like you said, I do like that quiet. It is a period I need that. I want that. And just for the first few minutes of the day. And he's amped up. He's talking to me to the point where I looked at him. I was like, Jeff, I need you to just shut the fuck up. Give me 5 minutes to enjoy my peace. And I was like, I think something was fermenting. I was like, you hear that bubbling? Just stop and listen to it. That's all I want you to do.
Yeah. And sometimes that's what you want to do, because I know when I'm home brewing at home, usually in the backyard, it's like 6:30 in the morning or so. 6:30 in the morning, and I just like want to listen to the birds and et cetera and so forth. And then someone starts mowing their freaking lawn. So,
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
To me, it's literally like Tori's like the Dojo Master, you know?
Okay.
So when I come in, seriously, I come in here, it's like, she's like, hey, listen, I know you're excited, but just take a second and take it in. And you're like, oh my, you find a way to like, oh, I'm like one with the place, one with the facility, one with the beer, you know? So literally learning from her is like it's like learning from Mr. Miyagi and Mrs. Miyagi herself, you know.
Mrs. Miyagi. With that, we're going to take a little break to have a little word from our sponsor, BruYou, as well as some other things we're going to be talking about. So we will be back in a few minutes to talk a little bit more about Dojo Backward Flag. So we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
BruYou is the app to send and receive drinks. Buying a drink with BruYou is easy. First, select a recipient, choose the location, and then pick a drink from their menu and send it out. It's easy to stay connected with the people you care about with BruYou. Whether it's a birthday or promotion, or just because, sending a drink with BruYou is great for any occasion. When someone buys you a drink, you'll receive a notification with the details, and the drink will be stored in the app until you redeem it. When you're ready to redeem a drink, follow the prompts and show the bartender the confirmation screen. Once your drink is received, close it out on the app and say thanks. Then, cheers! You just received your first drink on BruYou. Available for download on the App Store and Google Play Store.
Hey, this is Vic. We are back here now with Tori and with assistant brewer Jeff. So, Jeff, tell us about the first time you dry hopped something. What happened?
Well, the first time I dry hopped with Tori behind me, it was fine. I got the lid on fine. But the second time, I had an audience, and it was not. I dry hopped, I think it was 20 pounds worth of hops into this big guy over here, and I added an extra step where I tried to clean the rim and make sure it was all sanitary before I got the lid on, which I should have just put the lid on, let the pressure blow off, and then come back.
I did explain to him beforehand, listen, you have to expedite, it will become active. The gravity was actually fairly low already, so I wasn't anticipating much of anything. He had plenty of time, to get the hops in and get everything put back on. And I had even looked up and I was like, oh, the lid was on. Or so I thought. I think the lid was on, right? And I was like, oh, you got it in there, you're good? He's like, yeah, I'm good.
The lid was on, and I had the tri-clamp was on crooked. So as I went to go flip it and lock it, all I felt was boom. So as that happened, I got a big gasp CO2, and I was like, oh, that almost got me. So I was almost passed out. Meanwhile, I hear Tori, put the lid on it.
It's just flowing. He's looking at me in a daze, and he's like, what do I do? And I'm like, just put the lid on and just stand up there and hold it, Jeff.
Just slammed it back on there. Finally got the control, and I'm just
we have a band here. The place is open.
There's the people in here drinking beer.
That video, I got it from a customer.
Oh.
Yeah, they were sitting right there. They got all soaked. They got soaked by the table. It was great. Oh. So, got blessed by the beer gods. I would say initiated.
A couple of the guys from the band, they work over at Icarus.
Yeah.
So it was Puppy Grease. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but two guys out of the band, they work over at Icarus. So they happen to be here, so he was kind of beating himself up a little.
Yeah, I was
pissed at myself, tell honestly. The guy, this is something that happens all the time. We've all done it. We've all been blessed by the beer.
I look back on it though, and it's just I was like, wow, it's just something that needed to happen. It's literally your first thing is your first mistake is what blesses you into the place, and I know something I will never do again. Yeah. So expedite means expedite, but also at the same time, it was a great learning point for me because even though you do mess up, you can go back and fix and correct your problems, and if you don't, it's still beer, just like she said. You never had a cannabis plant blow up on you in your face, though? No, I never had one blow up in my face, but definitely went through my fair share of stress with that for sure. But it's just the I guess the art of perfection. No matter what you try to do, or I wouldn't even say it's what was it? Who? I don't know who said it, but I can't remember who with the scientist. But anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So it's just be prepared, and that definitely got me prepared. And that's Murphy's Law. Yeah, Murphy. Yeah, our governor. Yeah, exactly. That guy. He put me into it definitely whipped me into shape to get ready for things that go on here. Now tell us about what you have there. You have Mil-Spec there. Tell us a little bit about that. So yes, so Mil-Spec is the first brew that me and Tori ever have done together. It's a specialty. It's a black IPA, and she's got her own little proprietary secrets for that. So I'm grateful for learning it. But it wasn't all peachy and cream. We got through the whole process fine, but at the end of it, it turned out we ended up getting kind of a haziness in the beginning. But that was also another learning curve or a learning pinpoint for me is because the beer will clear out. You just let it sit, put it in the cooler. Once you keg it, everything will be fine. But it still can't, still has the same taste as from what I'm told, and got the blessing from the other Mil-Spec drinkers. So nice. It's definitely a big confidence boost to do something that's so complex to me in a brew like this, because if you're not on your P's and Q's, you're not getting a black IPA, you're getting a brown one. Exactly. Also, a beer that's been here for a while, and it's been produced a number of times, so you have to make sure the time you're doing it, it's the same quality as it was in the past. It's a staple, just like many of the beers that are here. Yep. If you mess it up or tweak it just a little bit, even the customers will know. So I definitely want to make sure everything is to standard for this place, because I could already tell that this place is held to a higher standard than what most people would want to keep their place as. Okay, excellent, Jeff. Thank you for telling us your new brewer stories, and let us talk a little bit about your hop explosion that you have. Now, Tori, we have a lot of stuff coming up here. Got the anniversary coming up, 6th anniversary, 6 years. 6 years. 6 years. Wow. That's gone very fast for you?
Yeah. I think probably every brewery feels the same way, especially in the last year or two. I remember being surprised almost last year in 5 years, going, shit, somehow we made it 5 years.
Right.
And then I remember not long after going, I don't know if we'll make it to 6 years. It'll be cool if we do, I guess. And it looks like we're gonna make it to 6 years.
Yeah.
And it's just that in itself is a little crazy.
Yeah. Now I know that your anniversaries. It's always a great experience. I've been here for a number of them so far that you've had. It's always a great experience talking to the families that are here and everyone that you've helped really at Backward Flag. But this year also is another anniversary coming up. It's actually the 20th anniversary of 9/11. So I know you have something planned for that day. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and a little bit about the beer we're drinking right now?
Sure. So the beer that we're drinking right now is called Something's Missing. Initially, I brewed this beer with my friend Rory Hamill back in 2018 when it was first released. It was a beer that he and I created together, and it was just a fun thing. The whole name was just really had to do with his missing leg, and so let's call this beer Something's Missing, and it's all about your leg. Unfortunately, last year we lost him, and so now we brew this beer, myself and his friends and some of his family, kind of like around Memorial Day is like a therapeutic brew day for us to get together, remember him, and that's what this beer is about. So 100% of everything, all the sales from this beer go to veteran mental health charities. So September 11th, what we're doing here is, so the 10th is Rory's birthday. So the 11th, we wanted to do something big and special. So what we're doing is the morning of starts actually at CrossFit Razor, which is right down a couple buildings.
Okay.
And they're going to be doing a Rory WOD, basically a workout that was created and will be performed in his memory based on his experiences. And so then after that, we're doing basically an after party here where we have music. We have a guy, Joe Hess, coming in. He's also a Marine. He'll be playing. We have the Williams Boys. That's another band that'll be playing here. We have Eat Clean Bro, who's been super supportive of a lot of different things. They're actually catering all the food at no cost to anybody. All we're asking is $10 at the door. You get a limited edition cup. It's got our brand on it, and it also has it's a cool logo that somebody made a while back. It's a picture of Rory. It says one-legged man in a ass-kicking contest on it. So you get that cup and a beer token when you get through the door, and plus then you get the free food that'll be here, and all the money then will get donated to charities. So that's what we're actually going to be doing. A celebration of his life, which is significant. When we look at, I don't know, so many things that have happened in the world recently, we go back to, to that anniversary and why we do what we do. So.
Now the events of that day, like the workout at CrossFit, etc. Can anyone take place in that? Is there a donation?
So it's I believe a $20 registration fee to register, because it is a competition. So it's $20 to register over there and do the workout with them, and then it's just it's $10 through the door here.
Okay, great. Now tell us about the plans you have in the future for Backward Flag. I know that as far as breweries are concerned, you aspire to much more than just producing beer and sending that beer out there. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I go back and forth through, kind of honestly, a number of different things. But at the end of the day, the idea is that rather than growing, in some ways I've actually started to downsize a little bit and go back to focusing on here. And not just here as a brewery and what we do with beer, but more the people and the people and their role here, their role in the community, our role in the community. And Jeff can tell you, we're a very tight-knit family. And so I've become more focused on what I'm doing with the actual people that are here, and our ability to reach out also to other people like us in the community. So it's become more about peer-to-peer type support, working individually with people that come in that may need help, may need support. So I've been working on a couple different things. One of them is just the idea of turning Backward Flag into a 501, it's a nonprofit.
Right.
That allows us to bring people in and more flexibility in, doing, brewing with people and having them or allowing them to have those experiences without the pressure so much of having to be a growing business. If a guy destroys a batch of beer because he's new and having a bad day, which is what a lot of people do here, I don't have to worry about numbers.
Okay.
And it's not something I've ever been interested in anyway. And going in that direction will allow us the freedom to continue to do
Excellent.
that.
Excellent. Excellent. Tori, thank you. So if you could just tell our viewers where you are, Backward Flag, how people can reach you, etc.
Yep. So we're in Forked River, New Jersey. So you can find us at backwardflagbrewing.com. We're on Instagram as Backward Flag Brewing, and we're also on Facebook, of course. We update Facebook and Instagram pretty frequently, so you can always check out there if you're looking for the latest and greatest in what we're doing.
Okay. Tori, thank you so much. Jeff, thank you for being here with me. Tori, always one of my favorite conversations I have. Cheers. To Rory.
Rory.
Thank you. And this is Vic's Basement Brew, brought to you by South Jersey Beer Scene. And we will see you all next time. Thank you so much. Cheers, everyone.